What it do? Bad Time Crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to talk about the fights that need to be made after UFC 305 Duplessis versus Adesanya. These are not going to be covering every single fighter on the card, so if you're here waiting to hear about, who Casey O'Neill should be fighting next, you're on the wrong video, man. I do not give a flying fuck. I'm here to talk about all the fighters that I really care about, seeing their next matchup, what they should be doing next. Same with the loser of those fights as well. All the best fights that need to be made after the UFC 305. Let's get into this. Jack Jenkins, he put on a great performance against Herbert Burns. Got the TKO against Herbert Burns. Got the win. Chewed him up with the leg kicks. Great boxing especially. That was a big improvement. Showed a bit of a discrepancy in the takedown defense. I wasn't happy to see that, but I'm glad that he got the win. And he's in a good standing in this division. I mean, his only loss in the division is to Chepe Mariscal. And he's on a good win streak, so it looks good for Jack Jenkins beating Herbert Burns and only having to lose to Chepe Mariscal. So I think a fun fight at featherweight that would be one more win, maybe two more wins, then we start talking about ranked opposition or a rematch with Chepe. Let's do fucking Doo Ho Choi versus Jack Jenkins. Two guys that you guys seem to think I am. Obviously before the face reveal, I used to get a lot of DM. People forget, man, before I was Jack Jenkins, people were saying, oh, are you Doo Ho Choi? Are you Korean zombie? I don't know why the meme was that I was Korean, but I think this is an exciting matchup. It's two strikers, fan-friendly style. The kickboxing of Jack Jenkins versus the straight-up boxing of Doo Ho Choi. He's improved his grappling a little bit as well, so there's a path to victory for him. And I think this is a great prelim fight to a pay-per-view. I think realistically, this will probably end up as like, I was going to say in the Apex, but they're fucking doing construction, thank the Lord. So we don't have to see this in the Apex. We actually get to see this in front of a crowd. And I think this would be a great matchup. Doo Ho Choi versus Jack Jenkins. I know Jack Jenkins called out somebody else. I do not give a fuck, bro. I want to see him versus Doo Ho Choi. Let's move on, though, to the headliner of the prelims, Walter Walker. Just a masterful performance from Walter Walker. I mean, shades of Craig Jones, the way that he rolled for that leg. Shades of Gabby Garcia, really, the way that he rolled for that leg. Got a huge win over Junior Tafa. He's starting to leave blob status, man. He was a bit of a laughing stock to me. I thought he was pretty funny. He actually got a win, and he looked all right in that fight. He got the takedown. He got chinned for a second. Obviously, it's the script of every Tafa fight. You get chinned, you get a takedown. They mew and look up at the timer and wait for the round to run out, and then they try and KO you the next. It's the script every time, and I think the call out that he made is perfect sense. Let's do fucking Justin Tafa versus Walter Walker. This guy said he wants to obliterate the Tafa bloodline. So I don't know what the problem is. Apparently there was a scuffle at the buffet line at the fucking hotel. At the fighters hotel, apparently there was a scuffle. You know what I'm saying? They were fighting over the last muffin at the buffet. Maybe that's kind of the reason he's trying to obliterate the bloodline. But bro thinks this is WWE talking about the Tafa bloodline. I'm loving this storyline, dude. I want to see fucking Justin Tafa try to chin this guy, get taken down, and refuse to try and stand up. So let's do Walter Walker versus Justin Tafa. Apparently the UFC is coming back to Australia or New Zealand maybe later in the year. I reckon this is a great fight for that. This is a good opener to a fight night, is Justin Tafa versus Walter Walker. Let's fucking do that, boys. Now I'm going to talk about the main card. I don't care about any other prelim fighters, really. Tom Nolan had a good performance. I'd love to see him fight somebody entertaining like, I don't know, fucking Elvis Brenner. That'd be a good fight. Outside of that, I want to talk about the main card. And opening up the main card, our boy Leach lost, man. It was tragic. Shit was tragic. New Paddock. Li Jingliang got slumped. The world is a sadder place with Li Jingliang coming off a loss, especially by KO. So I'm thinking I want to give the Leach a good bounce back victory. I want to give him someone that's not going to cause any physical damage to him whatsoever. A guy that was getting outstruck by Tony Ferguson at 40 years old. Let's do Leach versus Michael Chiesa. Like I said, he's not going to take a single lick of damage from Michael Chiesa. He's going to get, grappled, and he can live with that. Leach can do that. He looked all right before the KO. Prates is just that guy. He's literally just Prime Anderson Silva reincarnated. So I think Michael Chiesa is a lot more friendly of a matchup to Leach having a comeback. This was a fight that was supposed to be made already by the UFC, so we know these guys agreed to fight each other already back in 2023 when Izzy knocked out Pereira, and now he's fucking on a losing streak, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I think Leach versus Chiesa is a good matchup. I think it makes a lot of sense. Two veterans of the division. And yeah, maybe if Leach wins, he can get a fight with Tony Ferguson. Maybe we can make that happen. But right now, let's do Leach versus Michael. Don't talk about my mom, Chiesa. And as for Carlos Prates, I was kind of tossing around maybe we do Prates versus Randy Brown because, you know, he's another tall, gangly welterweight that should be ranked low-key. I was thinking maybe we do Prates versus Jeff Neal. But honestly, a ranked opponent that I would love to see Carlos Prates fight, that's going to get... I'm just going to be real. This is just a straight-up layup for Carlos Prates, but I don't care. I'm all in on the hype train of this guy, dude. And like I said in my fucking video yesterday, dude, if you're like a casual like me, dude, and you want to find a fighter to pretend to hype up and be like a bit of a, you know, like you want to sound cool talking to your friends about MMA, talk about Carlos Prates, bro. Act like he's your guy, dude, because I want to see Carlos Prates versus Vicente Luque. First of all, badass matchup. Come on, give me that. Dap me up. That's a badass matchup. Come on, give me some. Great fight. Better than, makes more sense than Luque versus Nick Diaz. Let's be real here, dude. I love Nick Diaz more than the next guy, but UFC said they're not going to rebook that fight. So that is, in my estimation, that means we're going to do Tony Ferguson versus Nick Diaz, or we're just going to cut both of these guys. So why not just do Luque versus an up-and-coming contender? I think him versus Prates is an exciting matchup. It's a very marketable matchup, even though most fans would say Prates destroys Luque, and I would be one of them. I think this is a lot more marketable. Like, you could show their highlight reels and be like, this is a banger. This is a badass fight, as Dana White likes to say. Yeah, I think Luque versus Prates is a very good matchup, and I'm pretty proud of that one. So let's do that end of the year. That gives me MSG vibes. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting MSG vibes off Luque versus Prates. Prelim MSG vibes. Let's move on, though. Tuivasa versus Rosenstrike. I'm going to talk about Tai Tuivasa first. Yeah, man. What do I even fucking say, dude? I wore the Tuivasa shirt on my stream watching this fight. And like I said, ever since I bought this thing, he has not won a fight. I don't even think he's won a round since I bought this fucking thing. And realistically speaking, I think Tai Tuivasa is probably going to get cut from the UFC. He's already been cut before. I think he's going to get cut again. He's probably going to be fighting some NRL guy in a boxing match. I feel like that's probably what's going to actually happen. I think we should do Tai Tuivasa do a grappling match. He should sign with CJI and have a grappling match with Gabby Garcia. I think that would be pretty competitive, dude. I'm not going to lie. I think Gabby Garcia might win that. I'm not joking. I think she might tap him. But if he stays in the UFC, there's only one super fight left. Yeah, you guys know what it is. The KFC Yum Center 2025. You know, Taco Bell's going to be shutting down. Uber Eats is going to be flooded. All right. The Baja Blast shortage is going to increase. Let's do Tuivasa versus Gaziev. Okay, dude. Let's do Tuivasa versus Shamil the Blob Gaziev. This is the only fight to make it at heavyweight. I don't care about Jones Aspinall. I only want to see... You guys know this. Any fat guy loses on UFC, I'm booking him against Shamil Gaziev. Okay? And I want to see... Yeah, the Blob Gaziev fight Tai Tuivasa. I think that not only, like I said, the build-up would be crazy. The Uber Eats, you know, paychecks are going to be hitting different if you're working in Vegas this weekend when this fight rolls into town. But I just think that the fans would absolutely get behind this matchup. They would absolutely love this. And I'm trying my best to not be a hater, but like, am I delusional that Shamil Gaziev wins this fight? Why is Siri trying to listen to me? Am I delusional that fucking Shamil Gaziev wins this fight? Let me know in the comments down below. I believe Shamil Gaziev would beat Tai Tuivasa. He would take him down. Okay? He's a hungrier fighter than Tai Tuivasa in more ways than one. And I think this is the only fight left to make it heavyweight. Otherwise, Tai Tuivasa is probably going to get cut. As sad as it is to say, he's probably done for. If not, make the Gaziev fight immediately. As for Jairzinho Rosenstrike, I said this in my recap video, but I'm going to expand on that a little bit here. I think Rosenstrike actually looked really good in this matchup. I don't think it's all on Tuivasa being washed or being kind of cooked. Whatever you want to use to describe him. He didn't pull it out the oven like Leon Edwards. Rosenstrike actually looked good. His defense was good. His, countering in the pocket was pretty good. He had good head movement, good leg kicks. I think Rozenstruik has shown some marginal little improvements in his last couple of fights compared to his standings as he was kind of a meme fighter. I feel like Rozenstruik was a bit of a meme back in the day after he lost to Ngannou and all this stuff. Like, he was kind of a joke at heavyweight, but I actually think he's looking pretty good in his last couple of fights. You can tell he's been working in the lab. And I think, honestly, let's give him a top contender. Let's do fucking Sergey Pavlovich on a 2-fight losing streak, ranked number 5 or 4, I believe, versus Rozenstruik, who's going to be top 10 now after beating Tuivasa. I think this is a good matchup. I think this could be a fight night headliner. I think this could be on a shitty kind of pay-per-view. I think this would be a great addition to a fight night as a co-main event. Wherever you want to put this, I think Pavlovich versus Rozenstruik is a fan-friendly matchup. I think it's guaranteed to end in either Pavlovich KOing Rozenstruik brutally. I mean, he was going to be motivated in some sort of way by this matchup. If you know, you know. Or Rozenstruik schools him and we go, oh fuck, he's actually on a title run. I mean, let's see how far the rabbit hole goes. Is it just Volkov who's on a legendary run right now? Or are we also witnessing simultaneously the Rozenstruik title run? You tell me, guys. I don't know. I don't know if I'm delusional, but I'm just saying, look into it. This might be something. So let's do Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And why did my fucking thing just stop? I swear to God, dude. Let's move on. I'm going to edit that part out. Let's move on, though. Gamrot versus Hooker. I picked Dan Hooker. I'm a genius. Ignore my main event pick. Nobody needs to talk about it, guys. Come on, guys. It was a competitive fight, guys. Why you got to bring it up? Let's talk about my pick of Dan Hooker over Mateusz Gamrot. And as for Mateusz Gamrot, what's next for him? Well, first things first, pack your bags, pack a lunch, make sure you don't forget your toothbrush. You're going to the fucking Apex, bro. You're going straight back to Vegas, to the Apex. I know it's under construction. I don't care, bro. You're going back. And as for Gamrot's next matchup, listen, I'm not preying on his downfall. I'm not one of these guys that hates wrestling and MMA. But it is good to see that, damage-based scoring is upheld. And I think Dan Hooker rightfully deserved to win that fight. And I think Gamrot needs to fight somebody down the rankings who can grapple, but also is beatable for him. But also, if the guy beats Gamrot, we know that they're legit. And I think a great way to test out my theory about this prospect is to make him fight Gamrot. Let's do Benoit Saint Denis versus Mateusz Gamrot. Because either fucking Benoit Saint Denis KOs Gamrot, and you guys are right that BSD is like a real prospect and he's going to be a future champion, all this shit. Or I'm right and Gamrot beats what's his name? Benoit Saint Denis. I think Gamrot would beat Benoit Saint Denis, but I want to prove it. I want to see this matchup. I think this would be a great fight night headliner. I'm going to keep saying this for every fight, but this could be a fucking fight night main event, dude. This could go on a pay-per-view. I think Gamrot versus Benoit Saint Denis, if he beats Moicano, makes a lot of sense. Even if he loses to Moicano, they're probably going to do Moicano versus Paddy Pimblett. So why not just do... I mean, this guy already got to fight fucking Dustin Poirier for free, so why not just shoot... and Khalil Roundtree's getting a fucking title shot. I'll talk about that tomorrow, but the rankings mean nothing. They make no sense. Fuck it. Let's do Gamrot versus fucking Benoit Saint Denis. Let's hire fucking Benson Henderson out of retirement. Let's do him versus Gamrot. Like, who gives a fuck? The rankings mean nothing. Benoit versus Gamrot is a great test for Benoit to see if he's a real contender. If Gamrot beats him, people are going to have to put some respect on his name, but also going to have to put some respect on Dan the Hangman Hooker's name. So that's what I like about this matchup. If it's 5 rounds, Gamrot wins this. If it's 3 rounds, it's very interesting. All right. As for Dan Hooker, I love that he won. I absolutely love that he won, and it's not because of the pick. It's not because I'm biased. It's not because I train with him. You guys are saying I look like Kai Kara France. I don't know whether that's an insult or not, but I really want to hope that it's a compliment. Okay? And listen, dude, the reason I'm happy Dan Hooker is winning this fight against Gamrot and he's going to be in the top 5 or top 6 is because now we have fresh matchups at the top. Like, you seriously know, deep in your heart, Oliveira ain't saying yes to Gamrot. Gaethje is not fighting fucking Gamrot. You know what I mean? Dustin Poirier can't fight him. They're best bros. Dan Hooker can fight all of those guys. He can fight Oliveira. He can fight Gaethje. He can fight Poirier. He can fight Arman Sarukian if he wants to, and it's going to be a little bit more interesting. He'll probably lose to Arman. But the fight that I want to see the most out of those guys is Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. There's going to be zero grappling involved in this matchup, and I love it, dude. And I think that Gaethje is beatable for Dan Hooker. I know that's controversial, but I'm going to say this, bro. I'm feeling this Dan Hooker title run, dude. I'm feeling it, bro. I think Dan Hooker's going to get a title shot in the next year and a half. I'm going to say that right now. I think Dan Hooker's going to get a title shot. I think he can beat Justin Gaethje. I think Justin Gaethje is there to be beat by Dan Hooker. I think he might be able to do it, man. I think he might actually grapple. He actually can grapple. I think Dan Hooker beats Justin Gaethje. I think Dan Hooker beats Justin Gaethje, dude. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I think Gaethje would have got smudged by Gamrot in that fight. Am I crazy? Let me know if I'm crazy. Listen, dude. I don't know. I just have a feeling, bro. I just have that gut feeling, all right? And I think Hooker versus Gaethje is a fight to make. Please put this on fucking MS. If I have to watch Jones versus Stipe, at least give me this as the featured fight. At least give me this if you're going to make me watch John Jones and Dana White act like beating Stipe Miocic in 2024 is a fucking accomplishment. Please just give us something good. And Gaethje versus Hooker is a great fight. I want to see that. As for the co-main event, guys, a lot of well wishes for me after my loss to Kai Kara France. I'm not going to be making a fight for Kai Kara France because I genuinely don't care. And I know that sounds salty, but he's probably just going to get a title shot, or he's going to fight the loser of fucking Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Like, that's what we're getting. That's literally it. Like, it's that. If Brandon Royval beats Taira, he probably has to fight Kai Kara France anyway. So it's either title shot, Kai Asakara, or fucking the loser of that for Kai Kara France, right? Like, everyone knows that. The most interesting thing here is preventing a tragedy, which would be the Dominic Reyes downfall of Steve Usyk. I'm not letting it happen. I'm not letting it happen. I don't think you understand. I will do anything to make sure that Steve Usyk wins his next fight and also does not get chinned again and also gets back to the belt because he should be the fucking champion. All right, dude? So my genius plan is I'm going to get this guy a big name that I think he beats. And I think he beats Manel Kape. I think he beats Manel Kape. And if Manel Kape somehow wins this, you can do Manel Kape versus Kai Kara France. You're welcome. I'm a genius. I know you want to see that. But I think Steve Usyk wins this fight. And that's honestly what I'm here to do. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to try and hide it. I'm trying to get Steve Usyk a win. Manel Kape has a lot of name value. People will probably pick him to beat Steve Usyk. I understand that now. But at the same time, I think Steve Usyk is just a better fighter than Manel Kape. And I think he would be able to jab him up at range, kick him to the body, kick him to the legs, mix up the grappling if need be. This would be a good bounce back fight for Steve Usyk because he does kind of have a name value now. Like, obviously, he has a very successful YouTube channel. He's got 45,000 subscribers. He's a big name, and people do fucking love Steve Usyk. So I think Manel Kape versus Steve Usyk is a fan-friendly matchup. It's better than doing, Steve Usyk versus Tagiru Linbekov in the Apex. Like, fuck that, dude. Let's do Usyk versus Manel Kape. And let's get Steve Usyk back on the winning train. Because I'm not watching a fucking Dominic Reyes downfall of this guy, dude. I'm not watching a Tony Ferguson downfall, dude. If he loses his next fight, say goodbye, man. I hope you guys are subscribed to fucking Rigo and MMA Guru. Because you're not going to see any videos from me, man. You're gonna have to be finding new channels to watch, bro. Because if Usyk goes on a downfall, I'm done for. All right, man. That leaves only the main event. And it's very interesting, both of these guys. It's really hard to say where they go from here. I think with Israel Adesanya especially, it's very, very hard to say because he can't fight Robert Whittaker. If Chimaev beats Whittaker, he's getting a title shot. He's not going to have to fight Izzy. They're not going to do that. Imavov and Allen are fighting each other. And the winner of that maybe will get Israel Adesanya at middleweight. But honestly, I feel like with a loss to Strickland, a loss to DDP, nobody wants to see him fight Whittaker. He's going to have to fight at least 2 more times to get back to a title shot against guys on the come up that are terrible matchups for him, like Anthony Hernandez. I think even Michel Pereira is a tough matchup for him. He's probably a little bit more beatable, but even then, I wouldn't be so sure. Right, so we're looking at a division where he's kind of being aged out. Like, he's not as athletic as he should be for these middleweights. He's not, he's just not able to really hang with them the way that he used to. I think he should move up to light heavyweight because if he gets one single win at light heavy, just copy Pereira. I think he needs one win at light heavyweight to get a title shot. I genuinely believe he only needs one win at light heavyweight. And I think he should fight Yuri Prochazka. I think him versus Yuri Prochazka makes a lot of fucking sense. And if Yuri can beat Izzy, that is a claim to get back to the belt. Like, if he can beat Yuri and Izzy and KO him, he can say, hey, I beat the guy that Alex lost to last. You know what I mean? Well, he wouldn't say it like that. Like, I bring a big storm, and I KO Dog Bender, and I bring powerful storm to this fight, and I come for big fight. And, you know, even if he loses, you know, we're going to get some wholesome moments between these two. I mean, these guys are the type of guys to build some Legos together, man. You know, if Izzy beats Yuri, that's a big comeback for him. This is a fan-friendly matchup. This is a huge fight at light heavyweight. It's a matchup that's very interesting to think about, you know. And I think that this is a good next step for Izzy. I think he's already bulking up. I think he should just fucking commit, dude. Just commit to the blob lifestyle, move up to light heavyweight, fight Yuri Prochazka, who's shown that he's not the best kickboxer in the division, who's shown that he's, you know, not as high IQ as people think he is, and has a bit of a sus defense when it comes to the kickboxing. Has a weakness to leg kicks as well, which favors Izzy. I think this is a really smart idea for Israel Adesanya versus staying at middleweight, spinning your fucking wheels. The matchups for the championship are just going to be terrible. Like, it's either going to be Strickland as champ, already beat you and schooled you. Dricus as champ, already beat you and finished you. Fucking Whitaker as champ, nobody wants to see you fight him, so there's no fucking point. Or it's gonna be Hamzat as champ, and brother, I'm gonna smash this guy, brother. Ah, he's a wolf. I know he's a wolf. That might excite Izzy, but I don't think he's gonna beat him. So light heavyweight Izzy is the move, and I think he should fight Yuri Prochazka in his light heavyweight debut. That leaves only one thing in the middleweight division, and I think it's pretty obvious. I know that Dana White, listen, bro. Okay, I know I'm switching up here, man. I know that I'm the Strickland fan on YouTube, and it's really embarrassing sometimes to be a Strickland fan. I'm not one of those Strickland fans, I'll just say that. And I know he got promised the next title shot. I have zero interest in seeing him fight Dricus, bro. I just see, after seeing him finish Izzy, like, it's weird. Izzy got finished by Dricus, but he also had a way better performance against Dricus than Sean Strickland. Even though Strickland was a close fight, I thought Strickland won the fight. Izzy had more moments where I thought, oh my god, he's actually going to win this fight. And I think just seeing all three of them in fights against each other, I have zero interest in Strickland fighting Dricus. I think he's just going to jab and teep his way to another robbery loss. And I just don't care. Like, I don't care. Unless he beats somebody. Like, if he beat Robert Whitaker, I would fucking care. But he's just sitting out. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see it. I would rather see the winner of Whitaker versus Chimaev. And I think it's going to be Hamzat Chimaev. I think the next fight we're getting at middleweight is going to be Dricus du Plessis versus Hamzat Chimaev, right? And I think Chimaev's an interesting foil to Dricus because obviously Pereira's out there. He said he's moving down. You're not moving down. Shut the fuck up. That's not happening. Dricus isn't moving up to fight him at 205. Nobody cares enough about that. The only fight at 205 for Alex that's from another division is Izzy, dude. Like, that's the only fight I want to see for Alex. I want to see Dricus just stay and fight middleweight, you know? And I think Chimaev's going to be interesting because his gaslighting is not going to work on Chimaev, dude. You can't gaslight this guy. Chimaev's just going to slam his microphone on the table. Brother, I don't give a fuck. I kill you, brother. I don't care, brother. Brother, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, brother. Like, he doesn't give a fuck, dude. He's not going to get gaslit. He's just going to rage. You know, and Dricus, I don't know why he's so mad, mate. I completely don't understand what's going on with this guy. You know, this guy's crazy, mate. You know, this might be the guy to beat Dricus. Because if it ain't going to be Hamzat, I don't see a guy. I think the only guys that have a shot at Dricus are, you know, Chimaev. I think Imavov is a bad matchup for him, but even then he has 0 heart, so I can see Dricus chatting his way through that. But yeah, the best fight that I want to see made for Dricus is him versus Chimaev. I really, really hope Chimaev beats Whitaker. Not because I don't like Whitaker. People always mix up picks with who I like. I just think Chimaev is the most interesting fight for Dricus next. And I hope that's what happens at middleweight. But let me know down below, what fights do you think should be next after UFC 305? What do you think of my matchups? Who do you think would win? And what did you think of the fights? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BedtimeMMA. I will see you guys in the next video, man. Goodbye.